Okay, so this is the two-way flushing system, and we're using here a modified Foley catheter. This one's a 20 gauge, which is what we use for cows. There is also a smaller catheter, a 16 gauge catheter, which can be used for smaller maiden heifers. But for this demonstration today, we're going to use this 20 gauge catheter, which we're going to stiffen this catheter with a stainless steel stylet, like so, and that's going to be used to pass through the cervix and into the horn. For this method today, we're going to use 60ml syringes, catheter tip syringes, and obviously our bag of flushing media there, and the filter. So we're going to be introducing fluid into the horn and sucking it back out and putting it into the filter. This is not a closed system. The closed system we'll show you later on. So for this method, we're going to obviously we need to pass the catheter through the cervix of the cow, and and then we'll select one of the horns to pass up. We've just got to get past the bifurcation with this stiffened catheter. Then the stylet can be pulled back 2 or 3 inches, and the catheter smoothly pushed forward, sliding up the horn. You can straighten up the horn as you're going along, just to make sure that it's running smoothly. A bit more, please. That's fine. And we can see there the catheter has gone up there. We position the tip of the catheter around here, or it's here now. The cuff's just slightly behind that, so we're perhaps halfway between the bifurcation and the tip of the horn. So if you'd like to remove the stylet now, and we're going to inflate the cuff here with air. Starting with a 20ml syringe full of air, and we're going to initially put in 10 mils. Now you can feel this cuff as it inflates in the horn, and that's 10 mils. That's pretty much what we need. Maybe just one more. Thank you, and that's fine. So the cuff inflation is important, not to overinflate, because you can cause rupture of the endometrium, which would allow the fluid to leak past, and also you get some bleeding. But also underinflation, you're going to allow the cuff to pull back into the horn and potentially lose your fluid. So it's important. It's usually somewhere between about 10 and 12 mils of air to successfully fill that, but you can feel it between your fingers as it inflates. Now what we're going to do now is we're going to introduce the fluid using a 60ml catheter syringe, and during this time I'm picking up the tip of the horn, and I can feel that's fine, another 10 mils please. You can feel the fluid filling up into the horn like this, getting right into the tip, and then we're going to suck it back out, hopefully, and you can see the horn there deflating. I'm going to clamp that off. We put in 50 mils to start with there, and as you can see, we've recovered the full 50 mils there. The good thing about this system is that you can you know exactly what you've put in, and you know exactly what you've got out, so you can ascertain as to whether there's still fluid in the horn at the end of it. We've filled up a number of syringes here for ease of operation. We're going to introduce another one now. And again, at all times you can feel it filling up into the tip of the horn, and then if you could suck back please. And at this time you can massage the tip, you can back the fluid back towards the cuff, and again we've got a full recovery there of our 50 mils. So we've got good recovery at this stage. We generally put four syringes through each horn, and the amount that we're putting in depends obviously on the volume of the uterus in front of the cuff up to the tip. For this one, we're starting at 50, we're going up to 20 there now, and another 10. That's absolutely fine, and then suck back. So the volume there we've been putting has been 40 mils to completely fill the horn. All cows are different. They'll vary from anything from sort of only 20-25 mils right up to more than 60. In fact, you could some huge multiparous cows, you could end up putting 80, 90, or even 100 mils in to fill the horn. Okay, so that's the end of the flushing there. Now there may be a few remnants of flush media still in there. But we know that it's unlikely there's going to be very much because we've measured the 50 mils in and the 50 mils out on all occasions. So we're going to introduce some air here to fill the horn with air up to the 10 mark, please, and suck back. Thank you. What this will do, this will chase out any bits and pieces that's left. So they say we've managed to get. There's been 2 or 3 mils there that we've recovered that was hidden in the uterus. So that's that finished on that horn. We're happy with that, and what we're going to do now is we're going to move to the other horn. So we're going to deflate the cuff first, and then ideally you should remove the catheter from the uterus and re-stylet it. It is possible to change from one horn to the other with the catheter in place, but there is the danger here of the stylet passing out through one of the side ports of the catheter, as you see there, and obviously trying to move that around within the uterus could cause some damage. So unless you're 100% sure that the stylet has locked into the end of the catheter, the best way is to pull it out and re-stylet it and go back in again. So we're going back in again there now. And we're going to choose now to go up the right horn. We started with the left, and we can feel that there. We're just pulling the stylet back, and you can see that there running there nicely. As long as you straighten the horn out, that will run up the horn without causing any damage or trauma whatsoever. But we've got that into a nice position there, and we're going to now remove the stylet again and blow up the cuff. It's really important that you do have this cuff in your fingers when it's being inflated, so you can gauge as to how much air to put in. But there it is. You can feel it there. That's now 10, and one more please, and that's fine. So we'll continue to flush away with the other horn as we did with the first horn. Once the 2 horns have both been flushed out, we can remove the catheter, and we have all our flushing then in the filter ready for examination under the microscope. Okay, here we are again with a 2-way flushing system, but this time we're going to use it as a closed system using tubing to keep the whole thing sealed. Some people prefer to do it this way, and there are certain regulations in place for flushing for certain export countries that require a closed system. So it's the same method of introducing the catheter again with a stylet through the cervix and placing it in there and inflating the cuff. Come out the back door there. You can edit all this out, Mr. Edit Man. Okay, right, here we are, we're through the cervix now, and we're going to go up one of the horns. There, if you could ask you just to pull the stylet back just a little bit, that's plenty. Okay, I'm going to push that forward. You can see the catheter there smoothly travelling up the horn. Just a little bit more, please. And that will do nicely. If you to remove that altogether. We're now going to inflate the cuff again, as we have done with the syringe system. And again, feeling for the cuff. 10 mils, please. And seeing that inflated there, and 1 mil more. Thank you. If you remove that. So we're now in place. And as with the last system, we used syringes to introduce the flushing media. This method we're going to use the flush media, which is raised above the cow, and the filter is lowered beneath the cow. For this demonstration purposes, we've got it here so in view, but generally it would be a lot lower than that. These is connected to two pipes with 2 clips on, and a T-piece there, which is then introduced into the end of the catheter. And what we're going to do now is, obviously my arm's going to be inside the cow, we're going to be able to feel that. We're going to introduce the media through gravity flow. So we're going to open up the red clip here to allow the media to flow in. And you'll be able to see that flowing in quite nicely. There we go. That was quite remarkable how that went in like that. And we're going to clip that off and then get the assistant to open the clip, which is going to allow it to flow into the filter. And again, you can massage this back. Ooh. Massage this back, and if you can clip that back off now, and then we're going to open it up again so that it fills the horn. Clip it off, open the exit clip, and again emptying the horn into the filter like so, and clipping the clip, opening the media, and the, as you see, the pressure from the fact that the media is raised above the cow allows it to readily fill the horn. That's nicely inflated and emptied. And we can carry on like that for 4 or 5 times until we're sure that all the embryos have been recovered. There we go, and that's nicely going out. Okay, that's fine. Well, that's the tube system, the 3-way tube of flushing with a 2-way catheter, and some people prefer that. Some people prefer the syringes. It's totally optional. But as I say, there is a regulation in place for certain countries where it requires a closed system, so it needs to be used. Okay. So this is the 3-way method of flushing. It's a catheter which we're going to introduce into the uterus via a stainless steel introducer here. This goes through the cervix, and then the middle piece is removed, enabling the catheter to pass through there and into the uterus. Okay, the catheter itself comprises, as it says, a 3-way system. So you've got the fluid passing in, past the inflated cuff, and circulating in the uterus, and then returning through another passage out into the filter. So it's a continual flow of media, rather than the 2-way, which is an in and out method. So we'll demonstrate how that works now. You can either use syringes, as we're going to do now, or you can have a 3-way tap, whereby you can suck the solution out of the media bag, close the tap, push it through, and continue to go on like that. I prefer the syringes on their own. So we've loaded 4 syringes, which is what we're going to use on each horn of the cow. So we're going to introduce this introducer through the cervix. This is a little bit bigger than the 2-way catheter, but as it's quite rigid, it can be fairly easily passed through the cervix. Once we're through, we need to position the whole introducer just into one horn. Just into one horn, and then if we could ask someone to pull out the middle bit, and then we've already preloaded this catheter here with fluid, and we're going to introduce this through the. If you could just manage that, please. Yeah, we're going to pass this through the introducer. And again, if you're palpating inside the cow, you feel when the catheter comes out of the end of the introducer. There it goes, and you can follow that. That's continuing to pass up the horn. You can straighten out the horn if necessary to enable the catheter to pass readily. A bit more, please. That's fine. Okay. With this, the cuff is a good 6 inches back from the tip of the catheter, so we're actually pushing the tip of the catheter a fair bit further than we did with the. Okay, so we're going to inflate the cuff now. This time using sterile water for inflation, and if you can fill that up now, please. It's quite tight. I can feel now the cuff is inflating in my fingers now. If you go up to another 2, that's fine, thank you. So again, I can feel the cuff there is inflated nicely within the horn, and we have the rest of the catheter that's sitting in the horn there. So what we're going to do now is the exit pipe of the catheter is going to be placed onto the filter head there, and we're going to introduce the media into the input port. Okay, and again, you can feel this as it goes on. It'll be quite tight to that will to go in than a normal one. And again, you can feel that's filling the horn now, albeit a little bit slower. But you can see there it's filling up nicely. Keep going, please. But of course, it's never going to fill to a huge extent because it's continuing. It's a continual flow. But yeah, keep going. That's fine. And as you can see, it's now continuing and coming out of the other port. You can manipulate the horn from the tip all the way back to the cuff to massage the fluid back. Now, if you just move on to the next syringe now, please. You can see the movement of fluid there in the pipe, showing that we've got a good flow going on there, which will be bringing the embryos out of the horn back through the piping into the filter. Thank you. We generally put 4 syringes through each horn. We'll continue here with, this is the last syringe, and again we've got to continue to have a good flow of fluid back from the uterus. Sometimes it's good to, as I say, always massaging this fluid back. Okay, now for the final act really is to again chase out any fluid with some air. So I'd like you to put 50 mils of air, please, back through the catheter. That's emptied the horn right out now, and And we can then change from this horn to the next. And it's simply a matter of deflating the cuff, pulling the catheter just back into the introducer, and gently moving it from one horn to another, and then continuing in the same method as we've done on this first horn. That's the three-way system. So this little catheter here is quite useful in the embryo transfer industry. It's a French flushing system, but what it basically is a two-way stainless steel rod with a disposable cuff on the end there. This is really handy for getting through very small heifer cervixes that prove to be very difficult to do with a standard Foley type catheter. So basically, it's a very simple system whereby you pass in this whole the whole rod through into the uterus, and simply blowing up a cuff at the end like that, and then pumping syringes in and out as we did with the two-way system with the catheters. But I say it's quite a useful tool to have on board as part of your kit. It'll probably get you out of trouble on quite a few occasions. So we'll demonstrate putting this in. Again, it goes through. We're using a cow uterus here, but usually this would be used for a small maiden heifer, or any kind of animal where the cervix is difficult to get an ordinary catheter through. Now we're passing that through. As you see there, it's going up the horn. You need to get that, because of the length of it, you really need to get it up as far as you possibly can. And then if we could inflate the cuff, please. Once it's inflated, yeah. Okay. Again, it's important that you feel the cuff going up up to 10, please, to avoid overinflation. I can feel that now. It probably just wants another 1 or 2, please. 1 and 1 more. Okay, that's fine. If you just clip that off, that's fine. So we've got this in place now, and it's just a case of a similar system to the two-way before, just filling up the horn, and just be careful with this. The tip of this catheter is relatively sharp to the uterus because of its size. So you've got to avoid any over enthusiastic manipulation in this place here. But anyway, so we're filling that up now. We can feel the horn filling up. Keep going, please. Keep going. Another 10. That's nicely filled now. The horn is extended, full of fluid, and we're gonna suck the. So you can see the horn there deflating and the fluid coming back out again. There we go, and we'll clamp off, and then the fluid will be put into the filter. Okay, thank you. Again, feeling the fluid now going into the horn. Just feel it now, and as you can see, it's filling up nice. I can feel that right in the tip of the horn, and if you can remove that, you can feel it back again. You can milk that, massage it back towards the cuff, and we've got full recovery there. Okay. Once we've completed the first horn, we'll do the same thing with we'll put some air through just to chase out any small amounts of fluid that still may be in the horn. Straightening the horn, and okay, thank you, and then again lifting it and allowing any fluid back towards the cuff where the exit holes are. That's fine. Okay, thank you. Now to change sides from this, it's easily done without bringing the catheter out. We'll just release the air like this, and then bring the catheter back into the body of the uterus, and then back up the other horn. Like so, and then we can inflate the cuff again. Up to 10, please. Just feel that now. Another one, and one more again. Thank you. And we can continue to flush away on the second horn, similar to the first horn. Again, this is a simple system, but effective and can be of great use with heifers with very small cervixes and very tricky cervixes.